All right. So picking up again on chapter 5 of the Success Habits, Millionaire Success Habits from Dean Graziosi. Um, so, um, it's always like when I really start getting into the, like reading like this, and I don't think that y'all actually hear the dog so much as I do. And you know, not my dog, it's the dog across the street, the one that I shot this morning with a water gun, mind you. So, it didn't like it. Shut up, but it was like 3, in that case, it was 4 o'clock this morning. And it usually happens around 6 o'clock. But either way, who wants to wake up to a big yappy dog that's like, anyway, I digress. Anyway, so that's why those low EQ moments that we may have. Working on my EQ. I've got some lessons on that actually in here. So as I work on my EQing and share my learning, I share with you guys. So anyway, so I'm a much stronger in my EQ than I was. Here's what it is. All right. So the 4 C's of confidence. Let's take a look back to a time in your life when you lacked confidence and it cost you dearly. Have you ever wanted to ask a girl out on a date or talk to a guy you saw at a coffee shop? Me personally, never wanted to reach out and flirt with a guy, but hey. And you let that person walk away without saying a word. Actually, in high school, I did approach a girl that I was very attracted to. She happened to be one of the most popular people in the school, if not the most popular girl in the school. Asked her out. And what I told myself is, okay, what's the worst that can happen? This is a great story, by the way. What's the worst that can happen? And I'm like, okay, she says no. Great, no big deal, right? Well, no, actually, it was a lot worse than that. They talk about a train wreck. She ends up telling some people it just like, you know, it became like this thing. I was like the laughing stock of, I was like the joke, the punchline to everybody's joke at school for like several weeks. It was like horrible. The quarterback of the football team, he like wailed on me like some verbal punishment. It was horrible. But what was really cool about it was that I lived. I survived that. I survived like the massive train wreck. So whatever nerd out there that was going through some crap at the time, man, did I give them some relief. Because man, I was like the guy that got picked on like for the longest time. And but again, I lived through it. That kind of bullying that I really ended up taking um, was actually a blessing in the end, because um, not only did I take that punishment, that beating, I ended up, surviving through it, and I came out stronger, and I look at that now as like, okay, what a blessing. We, we all have like if you really stop, if you understand math, there's like this bell curve, if you're gonna have like the people on this side of the bell that are like the super popular ones, the ones that um, people look at and go, okay, these people over here, those are the ones that are going to do well in life. Um, well, then, you're going to have like this group over here that's the ones that are always going to get picked on, right? And that's just high school. I mean, the bell curve doesn't necessarily mean that that's how life is going to roll, but you have this perception, this bell curve perception in high school. These people are the popular ones. These are the ones that are going to do well in life. These are the people that are going to be the most successful, through your teenage eyes, right? And then these people over here, these are the losers. These are the ones that are not going to do well in anything in life. These are the ones that are going to get punished just because they breathe, and that's your perception in life. That doesn't work like that. I'm 44 years old now. Um, twice More than twice that age, right? At this point, I can look back and go, well, gosh, now the popular girls marry the guys who end up doing well in life, and that's not even all the way true, but in the case of this particular girl, she ended up doing very well because she married somebody who had money, you know. And I think she's actually on her second marriage. I don't even know that either. So, or her third. But, you know, who cares, you know? What I do know is that, you know, some of the people here on this side, the ones that were deemed to not do well, are actually doing very well, you know. Some people over here that were thought to do well are slumming it through. Some of them, I think one guy even committed suicide. You know, just so depressed, you know, and that's just what's going to happen, you know. Quite honestly, you know, the defining thing is the people who apply themselves, the people who have this belief in themselves, the people who, you know, have that, end up developing a higher EQ and a higher emotional intelligence, that have that go get it, that believe in themselves. And this is what we're really looking at in this book. This book isn't so much about millionaire success habits as it is about habits of how to believe in yourself and how to apply yourself and how to not buy in the bunk and junk of life. And believe, okay, you know, not only can I do it, but I believe I can do it, and I'm going to apply myself. You know, that's what this book is about. I've read half a sentence. we're 6 minutes into this video, and I've read half a sentence. All right, let's go. Let's take a look back at a time in your life when you lacked confidence and it cost you dearly. Have you ever wanted to ask a girl out or a guy, and you let that person walk away without saying a word? You know, have you ever had an opportunity to tackle a tough project at work, or desire to start your own business, or you just couldn't move past the thought to take that action? Or to make it even simpler, have you refused to walk into a gym because you thought you were too out of shape to be there? I've seen a lack of confidence destroy many people, and it usually happens when their confidence is just that 5% off that I noted previously. So when you lack, so when was a lack of confidence hurt you? Let me start that sentence over. So when has a lack of confidence hurt you in the past? And how do you think your life could be different today had you been able to summon 100% confidence on the spot and do what you wanted to do? Okay. Case in point, you know you need the confidence to step up and step in and get something done, but then you start second guessing yourself ever so slightly, and it's enough to freeze you from taking that action. A great man and dear friend of mine by the name of Richard Rossi runs a remarkable company in Washington, D.C., creating empowering live events tailored to high-achieving high school students. They receive life-changing knowledge by attending. When I was talking to Richard about his events, I said, "You've been blessed to see so many successful high school students come through your program. If you could identify one common trait they all have, what would it be?" He says, "I don't even have to think about that. It's just one word: confidence." Okay. He added, "It's not the smartest kids or the ones with the straight A's that become the superstars. It's the ones that have an incredible amount of confidence that go on to do amazing things in their lives." And I agree. I've seen people with some superior confidence. There's a woman I know in Florida. I would consider her a dear friend. I would consider her an amazing friend. We haven't talked much really in the last couple of years, but what I see in her and what I see in her kids, and she instills this in her kids, and her kids, I'm going to be straight up, they mess up more times than you can care to count. But when it comes to business, her kids are phenomenal. Her kids are sensational. Her kids can get out there and make crap happen. They can make money. They can poop money. I really believe that these kids can really poop money. These kids just understand business unlike most people I've met. And her kids, they breathe and put into $100. You know, I'm like, crap, man. You know, people could learn from her kids, man, on just business smarts. I mean, they they may make some stupid choices in their personal lives, but when it comes to business, they know how to make money, and it's amazing. And she'll probably tell you the same crap. I mean, she'll say, you know, these kids, they mess up more times than you can count, but when it comes to business smarts, they're phenomenal. They could be millionaires, if and not really even try, because they just know how to make that money. And so anyway, I'll send her this particular link because she'll probably love it. But anyway, let's see. So we're talking about confidence. It says he's seen thousands of the most successful young adults in the country pass through his doors, and the word that he uses for success was simply confidence, right? And so, but here is the $1,000,000 question. How do we make sure that confidence is always there for us when we need it? Think back to a time when your confidence surged because of something amazing that happened. Maybe you did something in your job, at home, or in the gym that had you look in the mirror and subconsciously pound your chest and say, hell yeah, I did that. And that moment you got a glimpse of what the power of an instant surge of confidence can do to your state of mind. As you know by now, I didn't have much confidence as a child. I was the smallest kid in my class. I couldn't read very well. I couldn't sit still, and I got made fun of a lot. And so as I got older, I had to learn to manufacture my own confidence. Through trial and error, as well as with the assistance of some amazing people, I learned how to build this bulletproof confidence from the ground up. You can do the same, but first you have to understand the myth of confidence. Some people have been born with it, maybe in rare cases, but it's unlikely. It's unlikely. I agree. I think it's a trained skill. It's a skill. Tony Robbins talks about the science of achievement. Confidence is a huge part of that. I haven't studied the science of achievement, but I'm actually been looking into it. It's quite phenomenal. It's a lot of that's actually in this book from what I've already looked at the past several days. And so he definitely goes over the science of achievement in this, but he doesn't even address it as that. It's just kind of, well, it's a millionaire success habit, right? So anyway, and so in most cases, confidence is something that has to be learned. Okay, yeah, there you go. You're probably fooling yourself if you think you have. Let's see. You're probably fooling yourself if you think of yourself as the confident type or the non-confident type. Both are just a myth. No matter what level of confidence you have, let me assure you, there is more waiting to be accessed. Let's start building your confidence to the next level by using a great lesson that I was taught by a mentor of mine, Dan Sullivan, owner of Strategic Coach. Might be friends with him. I know that name. This is the 4th step process that helps you discover what real confidence looks like and the ingredients needed to get there. The first step, I guess I could say the first C is these steps is courage. All confidence, all change, all new things start with courage. When somebody bungee jumps for the first time, it's not confidence that gets them to jump off the ledge. It's courage. And I say damn straight. Let's take a deeper look at this quality, since it will help us understand how confidence emerges from it. Courage is walking through a door and not knowing what is on the other side. Courage takes you off the bench. Raise your hand and get in the game rather than judging and envying from the sidelines. Maybe you don't realize it yet. What got me to talk to that girl in high school? The one that told me no, made me the butt of everyone's jokes. It was courage. And what was amazing was, I didn't die. Again, I did not die when, not just what I deemed as the worst, but what really became like, whoa, hell, that really is a messed up, situation that I ended up being in because I asked this girl out. What got that all started? It was courage, and what an amazing lesson to come from all of that, something that I lived through, and really it led to a heck of a lot more confidence later on in life. It's led me to here, quite honestly, and because I can look back at that and go, you know what, I did a risk assessment. It was worse than what I expected, but at the same time, I've learned from it, and I can apply that to other areas of my life. Risk assessment is not a bad thing. And so, okay, so when somebody bungee jumps, let's take a look at it. Okay, courage is walking through the door and not knowing what's on the other side. Courage makes you get off the bench, raise your hand, get in the game rather than judging or envying from the sidelines. Maybe you don't realize it yet, but you've built the courage muscle in your life. Do you have children? Yes, I do. You have to be extremely courageous to bring children into the world and take care of them. You didn't uh, you didn't know, and perhaps still don't know, that what the end result will be. But you jumped in and learned as you go. Courage is something we all have inside us. Right? It's all there, even if it's hidden. Okay. So if you want to be I'm like, so if you want the courage to do something, recall your 7 levels deep and find your why. Yeah, the why is a huge part. This is where that core habit comes into play once again. Taking action is possible when true purpose is recognized. You know, what's the goal? Know why you want that goal. Develop the courage to get there. Uh, I see what he's talking about. Okay, so this is where that core habit comes into play again. Taking action is possible when true purpose is recognized. Think of all we have learned at this point. When you have a vision, clarity, you don't let the old stories hold you back. The ability to be courageous grows exponentially. Okay, courage to the nth power, man. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so focus on where you want to go and why your new where you want to go and your new story. Pull your shoulders back, stick out your chest, and say, "This is my time. This is mine. Mine." Be courageous and go for it. Own it. It all begins with that first step. The second C is commitment. Be committed. Straight jacket commitment, right? Ain't getting out. All right. He doesn't say that. The second C is commitment. You've already shown commitment by reading this book, halfway through almost at this point, and engaging in the exercises I've recommended. I have. You've committed to a personal transformation, since any significant change requires a commitment. If you want to lose weight, you have to commit to that. Otherwise, you'll fail. And that's very true. If you want to lose, if you want to start a new job, you have to commit to that. Otherwise, you'll fail. Uh, look at the second C, commitment, from the opposite perspective. Have you ever been successful in something in which you were not committed? Whether it was a relationship, a new business, or even a new diet, heck no. You want more wealth, and I'm going to have to grab a bite to eat, man. I'm about to eat my face, all right? But I'm going to step back into this. I'm going to pick up on the second C. So there's going to be some, but I cannot focus because I got to eat, man. So I'm like starving. Why am I starving? All right. All right, so, or let's see. Now the second C is commitment. You've already known, or you've already shown commitment by reading this book and engaging in the exercises I've recommended. You've committed to a personal transformation. Since any significant change requires a commitment, if you want to lose weight, you have to commit to that. Otherwise, you'll fail. If you want to start a new job, you have to commit to that. Otherwise, you fail. Simple enough, right? Or look at the second C, commitment, from the opposite perspective. Have you ever been successful in something to which you were not committed to? Whether it was a relationship, a new business, or even a new diet? Heck no. If you want more wealth, that next level of life, then you're going to have to commit to it. Period. Simple. That doesn't mean you have to devote every waking second to achievement of a single goal, but don't dabble. That's for damn sure, right? A shaky commitment means only shaky confidence. So when you have the courage to take action, and the commitment to see it through to the end, you're halfway to confidence. All right. The third C is capabilities. What are you acquiring? What are you acquiring by reading these pages and developing success habits? Capabilities, right? Remember, when we talked about where you are, being honest with yourself, figuring out where you want to go and how you're going to get there. In most cases, you need to acquire specific capabilities to achieve your goals. If you want to be great at rock climbing, read a book from an expert rock climber or take a course or hire someone as a mentor. If you fail to take these actions and lack the knowledge to execute them properly, you'll lose your courage to keep going and not commit to seeing it through. you will get frustrated and overwhelmed. So get a roadmap from the right person or source whenever possible. While this may seem like a no-brainer, don't you know people who get excited about something and then think trial and error is the best approach? Trial and error is not bad. However, there's only so many errors that you can handle. I mean, quite honestly, I mean, and so like, oh, look, here he goes. He goes, when they hit a few roadblocks or challenges, feel defeated and then stop trying to they stop trying to reach your goals. With the right capabilities, on the other hand, you can spot the obstacles and know how to get around them. You can also access the path that will take you where you want to go faster and obtain the results you desire faster, really. You see, once you have these first three C's, take action and finally reach that fourth C, and that is confidence. Your confidence then starts to grow naturally. You just can't help it. Think about each C separately and how it has given you a lot of confidence at different points in your life. Have you ever been afraid of doing something new, like dancing in front of people, ziplining, or public speaking? Maybe you were scared to death before taking action, right? You were probably obsessing over what could go wrong. Who doesn't do that every now and again? That just kind of naturally happens. But when you finally did what you had to do, that was courage. And then after that, the experience ended. How did you feel? Exactly, you felt amazing that you could easily do it again. What about commitment? You can't dabble for years in a relationship or your business, and then all of a sudden one day, because of your kids or because you desire your desire for more or some other motivator, you commit and your life takes off. So, so you had the courage, the commitment, and consider capabilities. When you are in the dark about something, it seems so confusing. Have you ever tried to download and use a new app on your phone without any guidance? You know? I was just talking about this with some people. Have you ever wanted to learn a new language or learn an instrument and quickly grew frustrated when you weren't sure if you were even moving forward in the right direction? But once you acquired these capabilities, you read the instructions, you saw an online video, hired a coach or teacher, the activity became second nature to you after some practice, right? So, so you took the courage, you got the commitment. You took the courage, the commitment, the capabilities, and the confidence, right? And then that's what is we're talking about. Yeah, the four C's of confidence. So, so confidence is actually the fourth one. So, I was getting confused on that. I had to go back and look. All right, so you took the courage. You committed. You got the tools, right? And so you took a step of faith. You committed to the actions. You got the tools, and then that built your confidence, right? And so when you align the three prior C's to achieving one goal and one outcome, your confidence will skyrocket. Hence the four C's to confidence. When the four C's are in place and your confidence rises, the hero inside of you isn't being suppressed by negativity or bad stories. In fact, you've got the experience already under your belt at this point, and you know that inner villain can't sustain it. He can't fight against it because you've already got, you know, that inner core strength, right? the hero inside of you isn't being suppressed by negativity or bad stories. Your self-doubt and inner resistance fades away, and the real you is in charge, right? Um, and so, like that story, I was on a Zoom call, and so there was some people who couldn't get into it, and so, what happened late last year, I guess it was, or sometime last year, there was a Zoom call, right? And I downloaded the app. I had some trouble getting in. Um, and so I was like, okay, I've got some other stuff I've got to do at that on this particular call. I remember, um, and so I hopped in on the call as long as I could, um, but I had this prior commitment, and I was actually meeting a friend at a restaurant, and so um, he was actually he'd gotten there while I was still sitting in the car on the Zoom call, but I had trouble getting in on the Zoom call, and so you know, what I ended up doing was I closed the Zoom call down and I got back in, closed it back down again, got back in, and it was like that third time that I was able to finally get into the call itself. And so Zoom had just been kind of acting flaky with me that particular day, and it is something that I've had to deal with Zoom every now and again, but you know what I have found is that when I get people in on a Zoom call, I make sure, download the app first, and then once they have the app downloaded, then I tell them, okay, click the link I provide you, and that will take you straight in. And it does. It's pretty consistent that way. And so that's just been my experience with it. And, but the more I use Zoom, the easier it gets to navigate and manage through it. It's the experience. And so when I first started using it, I was very novice, I guess you could say, and I had those beginner troubles, that we all have on trying something new, a different app. And in that case, that was just kind of my experience with it. Anyway, moving on. So no matter how strong you are, no matter how much you evolve, your confidence can still take a hit. And if you're going to reach your full potential, you must protect your confidence, as in you are protecting millions of dollars in a vault. So when life knocks your confidence down, you need the tools to boost it back up, and that's what we're going to spend time on right now. Okay, let me ask you this: are you cool? What's cool about you? An amazing sounding question, and perhaps a difficult one to answer. Man, I'm freaking amazing. I don't know, y'all may not agree, and I don't care, but I am. I'm a pretty cool guy. I'm a nerdy cool guy. I'm the kind of nerd cool that other nerds want to be like. Eh, yeah. But I still have issues, and I still have ways to grow, and that's why I'm actually reading this book, and why I'm going to be reading other books and posting my reading online. That's for me to grow, but for all intensive purposes, for you guys, it's to inspire you. I struggle with just sitting down and reading, so what I've come to experience with doing these daily videos of me reading, this actually gets me to read. This teaches me to read. It's a good habit for me. I think one of the most one of my videos has actually 7 people have watched it. I'm like, that's fascinating. I wouldn't expect 7. I wouldn't expect 2, quite honestly. But hey, maybe it's helped those 7 people. I don't know. But maybe it's inspired you guys to read. I don't know. So, but hats off to you. I hope you really feel that you're awesome. For all intents and purposes, you really should feel like you're awesome, because quite honestly, you are. If anything, you need to feel that you're awesome, simply because nobody else is going to get on board with that until you do. For the most part. For the most part, that's true. Believe in yourself, and other people will believe in you. That's just one of those psychology. I don't know if that's 101. Maybe it's a 201 course. But anyway. But don't diminish the value of asking yourself this question regardless of the level at which you perceive your life to be. The first time I did this exercise, I was with Sean Stevenson, a 3-foot tall giant. Amen. Look at him up if you don't know who he is. Sean is an incredible man who has accomplished more than most despite adversities most of us could never imagine. I was talking with Sean about an obstacle I was dealing with, and Sean said, let's write down what's cool about you. I responded, what? Dude, let's talk tactics to fix the problem at hand, not try and feed my ego. And boy, I was completely wrong. Looking back, I realized that he noticed my confidence was down and he was trying to boost it back up. So trust me, let's do this exercise together. So go ahead and start thinking of all the things that's cool about you. I'm a cool dad. I like to be dynamic in teaching my kids. I'm not quick to spank them. I'm quick to, in fact, I never really was. When they had an issue, and my son, he's ADHD. He's got Asperger's on top of that. And quite honestly, between me and you, I don't believe in that crap. I mean, I just really don't. I don't believe in Asperger's, and I don't believe in ADHD. And you can write a million different comments. You're not going to change my mind on it. I think that these are man-made labels, and you know, they're made to put us kind of in this box. And quite honestly, I do believe in labels, but I believe in certain labels. I don't believe, like, you go, let's say you're having an issue that requires a policeman. You don't, you kind of have to stick a label on who a policeman is. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a label that needs to happen. A label that is meant to necessarily limit your capabilities and what you accomplish in life, I say screw that. I really do. And I think ADHD is one of those labels. I think Asperger's is too. And if you really want to bang heads with me on it, I've got some videos I can show you that say that back me up on this. All right. In fact, this story here earlier that in this book is another example that kind of supports me on this. With what was that woman's name? Not Carol Stinson. Well, actually, her story is pretty good too. But there was that one of the woman whose son Grant. I think that's in the previous chapter. Yeah, it is. But this woman, JJ, and her son Grant. That's in chapter 4. He was in a hit and run that left him in a heck of a mess. And you could stick a label on him that he's never going to recover, that he's limited for life, and all of that crap. But what did his Brand's mom do, JJ? She got him really on the way to a full recovery. And so, I look at things like that. I look at what modern medicine does to limit us, and I look at what homeopathic remedies and homeopathic medicine do to cure us. And I use that word cure for a specific reason, because the government says not to. And I like the U.S. government in a lot of ways, but I think in some places they have positioned it to where they want us kept in a cage and not so much free. And I got videos to support that too. Anyway, all the same, hats off to America. Love it. It does create a lot of opportunity, but it does also creates a lot of obstacles in people's lives that people allow and don't necessarily have to. So going back to this story. So let's do this exercise together. And so go ahead and start thinking of the things that are cool about you. So what's cool about? One thing I know that to be true is that when life gets stressful, we focus on what we failed at and what we've not accomplished, or the mistakes we've made. We tend to forget all the things that we've done really well. So this is the time to ignore the failures and to think of the wins. We all have wins, When Sean first asked me what was cool about me, I was scratching my head. He called me out because of my reaction. He knew I was focusing on what was going wrong at the time, and it took me a moment to think about what was cool about me. Okay. Like the great teacher he was, he started probing, suggesting examples of coolness to get me started, and slowly my answers emerged. I wrote things down like, I put my kids first over work and accomplishments. Amen. Um, I was in special education classes and barely graduated high school, yet I'm a multi-New York Times bestseller and an author. Oops. Easily a millionaire. Okay. I can operate a bulldozer and a backhoe. I, I can't. But I can machine and grind. I'm one of the few people I think in this world that can successfully do machining and successfully do CNC grinding. So I can do both CNC machining and CNC grinding. And I had two jobs. One job was CNC machining and one was CNC grinding. And I was a CNC instructor at a college. So I was all three of those at the same freaking time. Um, and I only had 3 years experience. Snap. I was a mechanic when I was young, and I can take apart an engine, fix a banged up fender, and paint a car. I can't do that either. Hats off to you. I, I donate money without anyone knowing. I create simple messages that get people to take action in their lives. I was the New England State snowmobile grass drag champion in my 20s. I didn't even know such a thing existed. That's pretty freaking amazing. I still have my best friend from 5th grade. I do too, actually. And he lives in Washington, D.C. And hopefully I get to see him. I'd like to go and fly out and see him before my birthday next year. It says, I will always try to show the people I love what they mean to me. Amen. I can solve problems without conflict arising, even when someone wants to be confrontational. I am good on camera after years of practice. I met some of my heroes. I have too. There was an artist named Jim Lee. He was a comic book artist. I don't know if he's still doing it now, but I did meet him once. And I think, let's see, who was it that I met when I first met? It was like really the first comic book artist I met that I just kind of like, you know how you elevate someone well beyond what they should, because quite honestly, everybody gets up in the morning, everybody sleeps at night, everybody eats and craps and shaves, or as they say. I don't shave, I trim. Anyway, but but you get what I'm trying to say. And so I think it was Jim Lee that I did this to. I was like, I met him and I was like, it was in the early 90s. I don't remember, my sister was with me. That was so freaking hilarious. It was hilarious then, it's hilarious now. And then, and after I did that, I was like, man, he's no different than anybody else. That's stupid. That is stupid. Stupid. And so I was like, you know what, I'm never going to do that again. And I haven't. I've met Tony Dorsett. I've met some professional baseball athletes. I've met a lot of different types of celebrities in different realms of careers and whatever. And so, but he was the only one that I behaved that way with, and that was like kind of like one of those first times. And I met James O'Barr, the creator of The Crow. If you ever saw the movie The Crow, go see it. If you haven't, go see it. Go see it. You find it online or whatever. So it's a great movie, great comic book. He created the comic book before it ever became a movie. Brandon Lee was in the first one, and he died in the making of that. I guess it was. So anyway, great movie. Anyway, so carrying on, laddie. All right. So the list went on and on. Once I started really thinking about how I was cool, the items started just to flow, And now think about what you can put on your list. And there's an easy to follow chart on thebetterlife.com. I'll go ahead and plug it. Get creative Include unusual skills you may have, as well as accomplishments. Your list should include anything that you like about yourself that has a coolness factor. Maybe you're a great friend, or you have a great fashion sense. Yeah, I do. All right, and maybe you're generous or to the needy. Whatever these traits or achievements may be, write them down. What is cool about your job, your business, or how you treat your employees? What about your daughter or son? Your or son you are to your parents. The parent you work so hard to be for your kids, or the partner you are in your relationship. Even though I don't know what's cool about you, I do know that with a little thought, you will find plenty of items to the list. And after you write them down, take a moment, be silent, and read what you wrote. Let the list sink in. When I did this exercise, I remember thinking, wow, there are a lot of cool things about me. I have a lot of unique abilities, and I've accomplished some pretty ambitious goals. After completing the exercise with Sean, I remember my confidence grew immediately just by acknowledging my successes rather than my failures. Just as I shared all the little pieces that created the villain within, now I'm sharing the pieces that will replace the villain's voice and put the inner hero in control. When Sean first said, do a what's cool about me exercise, I was like, waste of freaking time. Doing it felt odd. I was wrong though. And if you experience the same negative thoughts for even a second, you were wrong too. Take the time and reflect. You are not only cool, you have already achieved so much more than you give yourself credit for. Rock on. And I'm going to call this it for today. Yeah. All right, and so just a few more pages to go on this chapter. And was going to do a post on YouTube, and then this be a separate post, but since I haven't done the other post, we might as well just group it all together. Might as well. All right, so A Tale of Two Pictures, page 117. Again, remember 120 is halfway through the book, so almost making it there. And this is kind of like I've taken Tony Robbins' challenge that to read 10 minutes a day, right? And so I know that all millionaires read daily. Some read excessive. I mean, 3 to 5 hours a day. I don't know if I'm ever going to hit to that. That would be kind of cool. But right now, my habit, I had to do these videos just to get me into the habit of reading again. And I like to read, books just like this. This is my favorite type of reading, self-educating, education type books. And so, but sometimes it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's like, there's this other part of me that's like, you don't like reading, and I'm like, but I do. I mean, I love learning. What I really like learning is the classroom type setting. I like going and sitting down in the classroom and do trial and error, learning different techniques and things like that, and that's where I really thrive. I grasp that hands-on experience with somebody in the know. And so this experience, Tale of Two Pictures, page 117. This is the exercise. This next exercise may seem like a little work, but with effort comes results, right? Yeah, of course. And it's an exercise that will help you trigger an instant confidence boost anytime you need it. You can download the blueprint at thebetterlife.com. Of course, under the book resources tab. Start by finding an unflattering picture of yourself. It can be a digital image on your smartphone or an old photo that you've stored in a shoebox. It could be from a time in your life when you were overweight, which I was. I was a good 80 to 90 pounds heavier than I am right now at one point. Let's see, so just pulled an all-nighter, were broke, lost a job, or you just look like crap on the day the photo was taken, right? This picture is going to represent the version of you that is letting the villain control your life. It is a digital image print. If it's a digital image, print it and also save it to your computer. Then I want you to create a list of the negative traits you associate with this version of yourself. For instance, if I was fat, I was messing up at work. I just had my heart broken. I was really mad at my sister. I was focusing on all the things wrong in my life. I blamed others for my problems, and so on. You see, these are the traits that have fueled your inner villain, all allowed it to be in control, and absolutely demolished your confidence. Imagine how the person in that picture is letting the villain run his or her life and instill confidence. This villain is constantly saying, we're not going to be able to pay the rent. Our career is not progressing. We're not financially successful. We will never be rich. Why should we even get out of bed in the morning? That's the definition of someone living with a scarcity mindset and limited confidence. Now attach negative emotions to that unflattering picture of yourself. You were angry, sad, depressed, embarrassed, ashamed, insecure, and so on. And I don't want you to name that person. Maybe you name that person the nickname you hated as a kid, or make one up that you would never like, but whatever it is, make it an unflattering name. Yeah. Next, take it one step further and create a complete avatar of that negative person of yourself. An avatar. All right. I'm going to have to learn how to do that. Anyway. So, what are the limiting beliefs and habits of this version of you? What do you stand for in this form? What do you accept as a given in your life? Who wants to be around this person? Even if you've evolved since then, focus on the version of you that you observe in the photo, the outdated version of what you were, not what you. Yeah. Describe that person in the picture, the one not reaching his or her full potential. We are halfway done with this exercise. To complete it, find a picture of the happy you, the joyous you, the best you. It could be from a time where you felt great and looked your best. It could be from a time when you were the shining hero, or the top earner, or just completely alive. Now describe that in writing. What attributes the hero version of you has. Is that person vibrant, powerful, energetic, wealthy, financially secure, a business owner, in control of his or her money, alive, passionate, enthusiastic, and strong? Does this person exercise regularly, eat right, and have an incredible relationship with his or her children? Does this version of you make a lot of money? Hell yeah. Is he or she financially independent? Do others respect this person? Then I want you to name your heroic person. Maybe you borrow a term from the digital world and call yourself Johnny 4.0. Next, create another avatar, only this time the hero version. What are your new limits? Let's back up. What are your new limitless beliefs? What is your life without limits beliefs? The newly adapted millionaire habits. What does this version of you stand for? What do you accept in your life now? What will you absolutely not accept? Who wants to be around this heroic avatar? This version of you is officially the new version of you. Just explain you living at your full potential, no boundaries, no judgment, totally in control. Who is the real you when the hero is in charge? The balls up version, I mean. All right. Realize this truth. The two versions of you aren't separate people. Each of us has a good wolf and that bad wolf living inside of us. The old you, the new you, the villain is in control versus the hero in charge. I bring up the wolf analogy again for a reason. This is your chance to decide which one you feed, since that's the one who will take ownership of your life. Next, put the pictures side by side along with the text descriptions, both underneath them. Use your phone to photograph these images so you have access to them anytime you want or need. To see them, memorize these two avatars, both visually and what they stand for. Don't just rely on the digital image. Place the two photos or print them on your refrigerator, in your drawer at work, or on your computer as your screensaver. Keep these images handy because you're going to use them as your trigger whenever you need to require strength and whenever you need to summon your confidence. In order for this to work, feel your avatar. You must become the new heroic version of yourself. Whenever something is going wrong and you find yourself getting into a negative state, you are allowing the villain to creep in. Look at these two pictures and say, do I want to be this person, this old, this fat version of me that doesn't get anything done, that has no success, that blames everybody else? Or do I want this person over here, the responsible one, the one that's dependable, the one that controls his income, the one that gives his glory to God, the one that is a good husband, a good father, a good provider for his family, his parents, his brothers and sisters, his kids, heck, my ex-wife, my wife, my new family, my community. Which version am I? Am I this one? The one that picks the burdens of everybody else's up, and then me and Yahweh, me and Yahushua, me and God and Jesus carry that together, and then I teach other people, help other people, and then we all start helping other people, and then before you know it, life just gets better, not just for me, not just for my friends and family, not just for my community, but for the world. One step at a time. That's what a hero does. Or a villain takes from the world. It's wondering why not how can I get more from other people? How can I take more? How can I rob more? How can I be a bloodsucker? No? This person helps the world. So which one? Which one? Which one am I going to be today? The hero. That's who I am. It's my destiny. Okay. So whenever something is going wrong and you find, take a look at these, do I want to be that old version of myself that lets life control me? Or do I want to be the new hero version of me? 4.0 Johnny 4.0. Can you start to feel who the inner hero is? The inner hero is the you that God meant you to be. You're crossing limitless boundaries and utilizing all the gifts that you have to reach another level. The inner hero is simply you to the full potential, with nothing being suppressed in you. Amen. And so, here's another habit to change your state of mind and build your confidence instantly. Tony Robbins taught this exercise to me and many other great lessons over 15 years ago, and it transformed my life. I have adopted my own version of this specific practice since then, and it was a lifesaver when I learned it. Over a decade ago, I had everything go sideways all at once, or at least it seemed that way. I had an accountant steal a lot of money from me that literally compromised my ability to stay in business. My grandmother, who raised me for much of my childhood, was my favorite person in the world, was in the hospital dying. She was in hospice dying, excuse me. My biggest stream of income at the time stopped overnight. And this is just the short list. I was telling myself horrible things and digging up old limiting beliefs. I started thinking, maybe I'm not smart enough to run a business at this level. Maybe I just got lucky and my time is up. I was telling myself all these negative things, and it was destroying my confidence and feeding my inner villain. All right? But I changed my state of mind, and I changed it completely. The one thing that sparked that change was Tony's incantation. That'd be a big long word, and we just be humble pirates. All right, incantation. And what I termed my personal. And you know what? I'm going to pause this. Not pause it, but I'm going to just stop reading for a second, because quite honestly, I don't know what incantation means. And I'm like, so we're going to pull out my phone here for a half second, and we're going to look that fancy word on up, man. Incantation. Meaning. Alright. Incantation. A series of words said as a magic spell or charm. Well, incantation. I'm not really excited about that particular word. But it is a chant. Was another way of saying it. Let's see. Let's look at mojo. That is a recitation. Okay, so we'll look at it as a recitation or a reminder. And so incantation is not necessarily a word that I subscribe to, since it's connected to witchcraft and all of that, and I'm not big into that really at all. So, but reciting something, that's not necessarily, that's okay. And so we're going to throw incantation out the window, and we're going to subscribe to a recitation. All right. And so, so the one thing that sparked that change was Tony's recitation, and what I learned and what I termed my personal power phrase. I started saying to myself, if I can't get through this, or if I can get through this, I can get through anything. And if I can get through this, I can get through anything. If I can get through this, I can get through anything. And I said it repeatedly. He just recited it. He started owning it, because I understand what this is going. It says I started repeating it, and I said it out loud as I would walk around the house or around the office. I said it walking to the gym in the morning, and when I was on the treadmill, I said it louder and louder, and the more conviction until my soul felt it. My soul owned it. This simple little phrase empowered my life like I could have never imagined. It energized my cell. It got me into a state of mind where I felt like I could handle anything. And I stopped thinking about what could go wrong and focused on what could go right. Because what had already gone wrong had already happened anyway, right? And so we can't control that. It's already done. You know? Seriously. It's already done. You know? It allowed me to kick the old villain to the curb when he was trying to move back into my life. And I said, no way was I letting that happen with my new power phrase. I felt the inner hero take over my soul. I started using other power phrases to empower my life from that moment on and have never stopped. It's funny that Tony gave me this gift 15 years ago in one of his courses. At the time, I wrote it in my journal. Someday I will thank Tony in person, and he will, and I will do business together. So now, fast forward 15 years, and I'm backstage getting ready to inspire 15,000 energized and amazing Chinese people in Shanghai. And guess who I was there with? Yes, Tony Robbins, who is now one of my dear friends. I was getting ready to follow Tony on stage, and about 10 minutes before I was scheduled to go on, I got incredibly nervous. I started to question myself and my abilities. I became anxious about letting Tony down, as well as the other 15,000 people who were there. But guess what I used to turn that situation? Nothing more than what Tony taught me 15 years earlier. Through his course, I started walking around backstage repeating a new power phrase that I used a few times before when I had to speak in public. I was literally walking around saying it over and over with more and more intensity. Each time, I command My subconscious to use my God-given ability, my unique God-given ability, my amazingly unique and awesome God-given ability to impact, empower, and transform the lives of the people who are here today. I repeated it until my confidence grew, fear subsided, and then the inner hero kicked in, and I got goosebumps up and down my arms and my face from the amazing experience. Then Tony said my name, and called me on the stage. After Tony gave me a huge bear hug, I was ready to light up the crowd, and that is exactly what I did. Your power phrase can ignite your inner hero, and it doesn't kind of work. It works 100% when you use it this way. What power phrases can you create to help you with whatever it is you want to overcome or accomplish? What can you say to yourself at any time you feel the villain emerging to make you feel small and weak? What phrase can you say to get the inner hero back in charge? Maybe it's something similar to the phrases I use. Nothing can stop me. I've been through way worse than this. Or it could be something like, I'll never give up because my family deserves the best me. Whatever it is, keep it active in your mind, ready to be implemented at a moment's notice. Write your power phrases in a handy, accessible place right now, and what could be your phrase as you're walking into an important meeting and you're a little nervous and need a confidence and strength boost? How about before speaking with a spouse about something critical in your relationship, or when talking with your kids about a difficult subject? Is there a phrase you can use before talking to employees or your employer about a tense topic? Once you find the power phrases that fit you, pick one and say it loud over and over again. In a private meeting, walking in the woods, or around the house by yourself, when driving your car alone, don't say it. Don't just say it. Feel it. Feel each word. Do it until you feel the energy in your body change, your state of mind shift, the hero take control. This is you living at full potential, no boundaries, no judgment, totally in control. Do not be embarrassed. No one is watching. No one cares, except you. Your inner hero cares, and so does your inner villain. They care because the inner hero needs to be in charge. The inner villain wants to be in charge. Your inner villain is the one that keeps you safe in its own way. Right? Think about that. It tries to keep you safe. It tries to keep you in a pattern that's comfortable to your mind. Your inner hero is constantly begging for more growth. Think of it like that. And so they both want to be in charge, and they're watching. Okay? Your state of mind and your confidence are vitally important to your next level of success, wealth, and joy. I've never met anyone who had limited confidence and still had massive success. On the contrary, all the billionaires, millionaires, happy and successful people I've met not only have a vision of where we're going and an empowering story, but they also had the ability to manufacture confidence and change their state of mind on demand. That means they are letting their inner heroes run their lives rather than these scared, dream-stealing villains. Now you too possess the tools to create confidence when it's needed most. This chapter was designed to put the final dagger in the villain's heart, right? And allow the best part of you, your inner hero, to be in control. Now you have the tools and knowledge to do that. Remember, this transformation does not happen by practicing once or twice. Just like 1 or 2 killer workouts at the gym won't get you the body of an Adonis. I think that's a god, right? The more you practice, the more these shifts in your life will become the new habits and routines. you will see that you can handle life in a totally different way, and success will flow at the hero that's you. To help make that happen, let's drill down to the one thing that can help you create the wealth, abundance, and self-reliance on the next level in which you aspire. Chapter 6 is later.